Good evening, and thank you for joining the Green Line Transformation Team for an overview of the work we're going to accomplish during our upcoming 28-day full access closure on the E branch. We're going to wait a few moments to begin our presentation to give everyone an opportunity to sign in, and then we will explain to you how you can participate in this evening's meeting. So please bear with us for a couple of moments. For your information, we are recording the meeting, and that's so that we can post it on the project website, and those who couldn't join us this evening will have access to the same information. Again, we're just waiting a few moments until people have the opportunity to sign in. All right, good evening once again. As you know, this is the Green Line Transformation presentation on the upcoming work on the E branch. We'll go to slide 2 and I can remind you how you can participate in this evening's meeting. First of all, at the bottom of the screen, you can choose to see a live transcript, which is closed captioning of the meeting. That is the live transcript CC button on the bottom right hand. We are also providing this information in Cantonese this evening. So in order to hear it in English or Chinese, you have to click on the globe that's at the bottom of the page and choose either English or Chinese. I'll leave you a moment to do that right now. Okay, great. Just a reminder, I'm sure most of you have participated in these meetings before, but you use the Q&A button at the bottom of the screen to submit a typed question or comment. We won't actually look at those or begin responding until the end of the presentation in the Q&A section. You can also press the raise hand button to share your question or comment verbally. Wait until we recognize you and unmute you before speaking. When you finish with your comment or question, we will remute you so that we're not hearing background noise throughout the presentation. If you want to call in, you can press *9, and then we will see your number and we'll identify you by the last few digits of the number. So we will remind you again at the end how to participate just in case you forget. You can also send us comments via email if you have to leave early or you want to say more than you have time to share this evening. Send them please to us at glt@mbta.com. Depending on how many people want to make comments, I will ask you please to try to keep your comments short. Then we will recognize as many people as we can. And if we have more time, we can go back to people who have additional comments. So again, welcome. And we will start the presentation. First, a safety moment. We want to make sure that everyone is safe. And we always begin our meetings with a word on safety. Tonight, we'd like to remind everyone who's listening and participating that face coverings are still required on public transit and in MBTA stations for your safety and the safety of others who are riding. So please cooperate with that request. Now I have the pleasure of introducing Angel Peña, who is the Chief of Green Line Transformation, who's going to begin the presentation this evening. Angel?
Thank you, Nancy. Thank you for taking time to join this virtual public meeting. We're eager to share details about the E-Branch project. We want to ensure that you, riders and neighbors, commuters and community members, patrons and patients, employers and employees, all know what to expect when traveling along the E-Branch corridor between Brigham Circle and South Huntington Avenue. During the month of August, as we work to deliver a year's worth of improvements from everybody. With me tonight From the Green Line Transformation team, I have the Deputy Chief, Desiree Patrice, Benjamin Friesen, one of the senior directors of the program, Gwen Dunleavy, the project manager overseeing this project on the E branch, and other members of the team. Our presentation will cover some background of the Green Line Transformation Program, the scope and benefits of the upcoming work, details about the construction sequence and what to expect, how you all can continue to get where you need to go during construction, the ongoing coordination and outreach efforts in preparation for this construction, and last but not least, how you can reach our team anytime if you have any concerns or questions during this period of time. Following the presentation, we will have time tonight to answer questions and hear from you. You understand that construction brings inconvenience. However, we're using this accelerated 28-day approach because it allows us to work as efficiently as possible. We'll be completing a year's worth of important safety and reliability improvements in a condensed schedule of less than 1 month. And riders, drivers, pedestrians, and bicyclists will benefit from these investments for many years to come. To begin, I would like to share some important context about the GLT and how we take a holistic view of short and long-term improvements as we work to transform the entire system. In 2018, we have aligned more than 65 projects in the program portfolio into 4 levels of transformation, which we are advancing at the same time. Let me explain you how. Level 0, for example, is the foundation and focuses on state of good repair and safety projects. These critical infrastructure investments will better serve riders today and are the foundation for the future vision of the Green Line. The track replacement that we will be completing in your neighborhood this August is part of that level 0. Level 1 is accessible stations. We will continue to make level 0 improvements, but at the same time are advancing design and construction to make more stations accessible in the short term, as we advance designs to achieve a fully accessible Green Line with level boarding in the longer term. For the E branch, what it means for you, what it means is that we're in the initial conceptual phases of thinking about that future vision. Very exciting times. We'll be working in close coordination with the City of Boston and other stakeholders to reimagine the corridor to introduce accessible platforms, and that process will include a robust public engagement over the next 5 to 10 years. In order to achieve a fully accessible Green Line as well, we need an accessible fleet of vehicles. And that is the focus of level 2. We are in the process of procuring the new Type 10 supercars to provide a consistent level boarding experience at all stations. Once we have the unified fleet in place and accessible stations, we will look to increase capacity to be able to meet the future demand through level 3 improvements. Next, let's take a look at what we have accomplished so far across the Green Line over the past 2 years using the acceleration approach that I just spoke. Since 2019, we have been able to replace 12 miles of track. That represents 25% of the system for the Green Line. We also have upgraded 45 vehicle intersections and pedestrian crossings. We also have replaced 10 units of special track work on the D and C branches. But for you, last year, over 28 days in August, we replaced 9,500 feet of track and upgraded 7 intersections on the E branch alone. This year, we will build on that success to address another 4,000 feet of track and upgrade one of the most complex intersections that shares the roadway with the E branch. These improvements, what it will mean to you, it will be the result in safer, enhanced access for riders as they head to the Green Line stop, and more reliable service once on board. This August, we will replace 4,000 feet of embedded track between South Huntington Curve and Brigham Circle Station. The track in this area hasn't been renewed in 20 years. And the last time it was done, it took many months of disruption to complete. Rather than inconvenience all who travel through this area for an extended period of nights and weekends, we will instead use an accelerated 20-day period to accomplish the work along this segment. But also we'll be upgrading the intersection of Tremont Street and Francis Street with Huntington Ave while maintaining access for emergency vehicles through this critical intersection. There's a lot of good outcome and benefit that brings us. Let me walk you through it. The work we will accomplish over 28 days will improve safety, increase reliability, and rider comfort. But it's not only Green Line riders who will benefit from these investments. In addition, the roadway and pavement improvements made to support embedded track will enhance walkability for people crossing Huntington Ave. Drivers and bicyclists will also benefit from smoother crossings and new pavement. So we're excited to deliver improvements for all who travel through this corridor, whether on a regular commute, when heading to an appointment, to a class, or a dinner out. And just like last August, we will accomplish a year's worth of work during this 28-day period, rather than disrupt the community for a year of weekends and overnight work. Let me explain a little bit further how the full access closure creates efficiency for us to accomplish such an effort in such a short period of time. Without having to repeat setup and breakdown of work zones, and by eliminating the need to manage power shutoff, restoration, and testing after each night or weekend, we gain valuable time not only to execute the work, but to undertake more complex work. We'll also be improving the worksite safety and save on resources such as busing. But furthermore, we can leverage access to allow other maintenance work or local project coordination when the opportunities arise. All of these elements of the accelerated approach translate to delivering more results much sooner. However, we understand that you all experience the impacts of construction. That's why we have worked closely with the City of Boston and other stakeholders as we prepare to carry out this work. We also work closely to sequence the work to minimize impacts to neighborhood businesses and institutions. Desiree, why you don't speak about this ongoing coordination that I just spoke about?
Thanks, Angel. Yes, we have done extensive coordination with our municipal partners to prepare for this full access period, including regular meetings with the City of Boston to align our plans for the traffic management, busing, tree protection, pedestrian access, and much more. We have worked also with the Office of Neighborhood Services to connect us with all the different resident groups and businesses, working with Masco over a period of time consistently to ensure that we are mitigating impacts to the hospitals and the other institutions in the corridor. The team recently met with representatives from Mission Hill Main Streets to discuss concerns about the impacts that construction will have on local businesses. We have identified additional steps that we need to take to minimize impacts and will continue to work closely with the restaurant owners before and during and after construction. We will share more about that later in the presentation. One measure we have already taken is that we have directed our contractor to develop and post signage indicating businesses will still remain open during construction. Also, for New England Baptist Hospital and other medical institutions, we will also put signage out to ensure that patients know how to operate through the detours in the area in advance of arrival. We at GLT are committed in keeping both yourself and the general public up to date throughout the construction, and we will cover more a little further in the presentation as well. Before we move on, I would add that the decision to complete this work in August was not made in a vacuum. However, with tremendous amount of consultation with the city and with other stakeholders to ensure that we complete the work before students return to school, and for this year in particular, before employers expect their workforce to return more fully in September as we emerge from the restrictions of the pandemic. In addition, the month of August, we see the lowest ridership, and also the city of Boston recognizes that this area has the lowest traffic congestion. And with this, we know that it will reduce the congestion and the impacts of the corridor. As we approach the construction sequence, I'll ask Ben to take it over from there.
So let's look at an overview of the proposed construction. Based on the experience our team gained last year, we understand the complexity of performing track work in this neighborhood. We have divided the work into a prep phase, followed by 3 construction segments. The 2 weeks of prep work will allow us to advance through work zones quicker and more efficiently to minimize disruptions and impacts on the community. Construction itself will occur in 3 segments. First, east of South Huntington to Frawley Street, leaving both intersections open. Second, Mission Park Drive to Fenwood Road. Third, 7 days at Tremont Street intersection area adjacent to Brigham Circle. And finally, returning to segment 2 to finalize track work, conduct system testing, and commissioning. So Gwen, could you take us a little bit more in depth with regards to the prep work and the construction zone?
Of course, Ben. The prep work will start this coming Monday, July 19th, and go until August 1st. It will be performed during the nighttime hours of 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. on weekdays. The work includes stocking materials and welding rail segments. And while we take efforts to minimize the noise, the work will also include rail grinding, which can be noisy. This work will take place in the right lane and parking lane on the westbound side between the Mission Park Garage driveway and St. Alban Street. The traffic lane will be reopened during the daytime and evening hours, while all materials laid at the curbside in the parking lot lane. By taking this deliberate approach, we are able to minimize the traffic and pedestrian impacts caused by this prep work. Once the 28-day closure begins, the contractor will occupy the center of the roadway, removing and replacing the rail, ties, ballast, and asphalt, and then repaving. The work zone will encompass the left traffic lanes in each direction and will be separated from the outside travel lane by orange barrels. Traffic will operate in the remainder of the right traffic lanes and the existing parking lanes along the work zone, so parking cannot be permitted along the work zones during this construction. Fenwood and Mission Park bus stops will be maintained, though they may be slightly adjusted during certain construction phases. MBTA will monitor and adjust bus stop locations to facilitate roadway operations and optimize safety for all roadway users. Signage will be used to indicate any changes to stop locations. Ben, I know you wanted to speak at this point about some of the advanced coordination we have done with local businesses.
So the construction plan just presented by Gwen is the result of coordination with both internal and external stakeholders, including local businesses that will be more directly affected by the construction. The restaurants and shops in the Brigham Circle area will be particularly affected as we close the center lanes and maneuver construction vehicles near Tremont intersection. So we discussed the impacts on site with the business community, went back to the drawing board after some thoughtful feedback, and worked with our contractor to amend the traffic management plan. As a result, the duration of the impact in this segment has been reduced from what was originally 18 days down to 7 days. with MBTA to remove and restore outdoor seating for the affected restaurants during the impacted period. In addition, during the closure, the Green Line transformation will have a daily presence in the area to follow up on local concerns. We'll be placing banners saying businesses open during construction to support local businesses. And there's going to be about 9 in the Huntington Avenue area. And we will ensure that we take every opportunity to conduct the work as quickly as possible and get out of the way. We understand that this work is disruptive to the community, but this accelerated approach reduces impacts to the local community to a matter of days, rather than a drawn-out series of weekend and weeknight diversions. So Gwen, can you talk about some of the other measures for noise mitigation?
Absolutely. We know the work that we are undertaking can be noisy and disruptive. This is particularly true for rail grinding, saw cutting of rail, and the tamping and alignment of the track. We have implemented a number of strategies to try to limit the noise disruptions for neighbors, which include adjustable backup alarms on construction equipment, limiting idling of vehicles and equipment, and utilizing sound deadening materials or blankets when possible. We will monitor the noise levels and have established a dedicated noise hotline. We track every complaint and ensure feedback is provided to individuals who contact us. Now let's talk a little bit about impacts to traffic and alternative service for riders. Track construction will be completed in 3 phases, as Ben mentioned before. Parking will be suspended to allow the movement of traffic along each individual work zone. As each work zone is completed, the traffic and parking lanes will be restored to normal operation as the contractor moves to the next work zone. Advanced variable warning signs will encourage drivers to seek alternative routes and to avoid the area during the construction period. Detour signs will guide drivers seeking local access to available traffic routes, and other bus routes and area shuttles will be monitored and adjusted during construction as needed. In addition, there will be police details throughout the construction zones to maintain emergency access and help pedestrians and drivers navigate the work zones. We will also implement temporary loading and delivery zones to support businesses located near the Francis Street and Tremont Street intersection, when the intersection is under construction. Temporary loading zones will be established at Fenwood Road, at the Huntington Ave intersection, and at Calumet Road near the Stop and Shop Plaza to support these local businesses. The last item I would like to talk about is the alternative service we will be providing during this closure. We will be enhancing the 39 bus route between Forest Hills and Copley with supplemental MBTA buses during the construction period. 39 bus service will be free for passengers boarding at or between the Heath Street and Brigham Circle stops, and Green Line passengers will be able to transfer at Brigham Circle. We will monitor ridership and adjust the number of buses as needed to maintain the same level of service that riders could receive with the Green Line in operation. Wayfinding signage will be set up prior to construction, directing riders where to board the buses. Desiree, back to you to talk more about our ongoing outreach efforts.
Thank you, Gwen. As we wrap up our presentation, I'd like to focus for a few minutes on our public outreach efforts and doing coordination with the local community. With respect to the public outreach, we recently announced the construction details via an email to our list of over 4,000 subscribers, as well as our webpage and on our social media. We distributed 5,000 flyers in 3 different languages: English, Spanish, Chinese, along work zones for the project. We do these things because we want to ensure that you have the information you need. And we want to make sure that if you have any concerns, you can reach us at glt@mbta.com. So, Angel?
Yeah, so we'll be updating our website on a regular basis. And we'll strongly encourage people to sign up for MBTA alerts, to monitor and stay abreast of any impact to service throughout the closure. And like Desiree mentioned, our team is always available through the glt@mbta.com email or through the dedicated noise hotline. We welcome questions and feedback anytime as the E-Branch project proceeds through August. And at this point, I will turn things back over to Nancy to explain how the question and answer segment of the meeting will work. Nancy?
Thanks, Angel, and thanks other GLT members. Just a reminder that you can use the Q&A button to submit a typed question or comment. I see we have quite a few already. You can use the raise hand button, and then we will to share your comment, and we'll recognize you and unmute you. If you've joined by phone also only, you can also raise your hand by pressing *9, and we will recognize you. And so typically what I do is I will start with elected officials. If there are any who would like to speak this evening, or staff who would like to speak on behalf of an official. I think I saw Councilor Bach's office represented. Let's see. Takes me a minute, folks, to go through the pile here. But if any elected officials would like to speak, Lydia from Councilor Bach's office will unmute you. I think you should welcome Lydia.
Hello, hi everyone. I'm so happy to be here on behalf of Councilor Bach's office. I've been sitting here and listening, and Councilor Bach and our office have been in touch with MBTA and Mission Hill Main Streets about concerns that we share about the impacts on our small businesses after this very difficult year. So thank you so much for hosting this public conversation today. And I'm just happy to be here and listen.
Hey, thanks, Lydia. Are there any other elected officials? I'm not seeing any, but we'll wait a second just to see you come to the top of the list. No, I don't see any. So everyone understands the procedure. What I will do is do a name or two from the raise the hand list, and then I will go over to some of the questions. Please try to keep, we have 64 people on the in the meeting. So we do want to try to keep our comments fairly short. If you've put multiple questions in the Q&A, you can only, what I will do is recognize you for one, and then after everyone else has had a chance to speak, you can ask, we will go back to the others. So at this moment, I'm going to start on the raise hands with Tracy D.
Hello, my name's Dermot. Actually, it's my wife's name, Tracy. I have some major concerns being one of the owners of the Penguin. We found out on the 7th of July, which was last week, that we were going to be losing our outdoor seating. It'd be actually very nice if I could show you some photos of our outdoor seating and how substantially and how important it is to us at the Penguin. What we've undergone since then. We've had 2 meetings with Gwen and your PR guy Dino, which they're good guys, but our concerns have not been addressed. Our concerns are that you guys are taking something away from us when we're not even anywhere near back to normal operation through the pandemic. We're losing something, and we've not been offered any compensation for losing it. We've been given, and basically these meetings that you have like this now are purely informational after something you've already decided. You decided this, and I feel that you decided to have this information meeting at this time to avoid backlash, because once it came to light, we really did feel that our backs were up against it, because we haven't had time to really object to anything. But however, when we did meet with you guys, we asked for we asked for some considerations. We asked, is there any other time that you can do this other than the period where students move in and students move out, which is the end of August? Is there any time that is more favorable to say we have our seats for a limited number of time? Can we do it when our seats aren't taken away? Because presently 70% of our business is our outdoor seating. We've lost more money in the last year and a half, and we're one of the few surviving restaurants. Believe it or not, 20% of restaurants went under, and the ones that are staying alive are ones with outdoor seating. To come up with this now at this time and believe that what you're doing is repairing roads and repairing track is not in any way beneficial to the income or the people at the Penguin, the Mission, or any of the restaurants along our strip, we are going to die a death for them few weeks, and we're not going to get their income back. We're going to lose potential customers because people will not want to be in any restaurant that has, and from what I gather, 24 hours noise. Okay, so I think that it would be fair to say that this sort of project should be done in October or November when there's more stability in our economy. Right now, we asked as one of our 4 points to your panel that is, does the state or the MBT have any compensatory, is there anything they can do? They were telling us how excited they were to be able to remove our outdoor seating and put it back the way they got it. If that's exciting, I'd hate to see what you consider exciting, because to us, that's a kick in the teeth. We don't care so much about that. We care about what we're losing, and we care about the 24 hours a day that you're going to be banging away outside our door and creating havoc. You haven't been in business as long as we have to lose it. We've been there a long time. We're fixtures in the neighborhood. We don't intend to, and we feel that it was disrespectful not to have the notice that we needed in order to prepare. I know that this work has to be done, but I think the way you guys have gone about it has been completely disrespectful for the people of Mission Hill. It has no, when I'm watching this screen now and I see the way you guys present yourselves, it's almost like a Christian seminar or something. There should be a video on me now, or this should be a live meeting, because the energy that we have on this side, okay, is the meeting. So on that note.
So let us try to answer some of your questions. We understand this is a very difficult situation, and we'll try to answer them in detail. I'm going to ask Gwen to start by talking about why this time frame and why not in the fall or winter. And there are good reasons, which I understand may not seem as important to you, but we are in a difficult position of needing to balance the interests. So Gwen, could you start by explaining that again, please?
Absolutely. So I think Desiree touched on this, but there are multiple reasons that went into this choice of time frame. This is the time period where we have lowest ridership, which makes it more possible for us to still manage getting passengers to where they want to go. It's also the time frame where Boston records the lowest vehicle traffic in the area, which allows us to still safely move traffic through the area while we're doing our construction. We also took many of our stakeholders into account while we were doing this. We have a lot of feedback that this needs to be done before the students move back in and school restarts. And as Desiree said, the unique situation we have right now of businesses having their employees slowly moving back to office work and having to commute into work and getting this done before that happens as well.
Okay, and perhaps Ben, you could address some of the safety hazards. I know it sounds like just redoing a road, but there are a lot more issues involved, people crossing the street. Ben, maybe you could address some of those for us.
Yeah, I'd just like to add a little bit to Gwen's line of thought. I think meeting with the local businesses around the Brigham Circle intersection was very productive. I think our team learned a lot, and I think you guys made us better. We went back to the drawing board, had to revise a few things and come up with a better plan. So we're glad that we were able to reduce the impact to that local area from 18 to 7 days. And I think at the end of this whole journey, we recognize that construction is tough on local businesses, especially coming out of COVID. It's been hard on everybody, but come back in a month at the end of August, and you're going to find that the pedestrian crossings around the local businesses there are going to be in much better shape. It's going to be a better experience for riders, drivers, pedestrians, members of the accessibility community, who all use that street. So.
Yes, and we understand, believe me, that this is a very difficult situation, and the team will continue to talk with you to provide support on the site during the work and do everything we can, and in addition to have shortened the period that will impact you. And so let me go on to a couple more questions and comments. And I see, let me go to one in the Q&A, and I will start at the top of that list. Let's see. Well, I was asked if I will read all the comments and questions in the chat, regardless of whether they're good or bad. And yes, I will. I won't read every single one in order because, as I said, what we try to do is give everyone one question. Then we go through all the possible questions and we come back and give you another opportunity to ask a question. Patricia Flaherty says that this controlled process makes it impossible to see our neighbors or see their comments. There should be an open community process. I'm sorry, it's jumping around. This will dramatically impact the businesses along Huntington Ave. I understand you have agreed to remove outdoor seating for 7 days only. Where is this commitment made in writing? The answer is that there is a letter being prepared, and you have to that commitment that you also have the commitment made orally here, which is been recorded and will be available. I assure you that the team intends to keep every commitment that it made in those discussions, and other good ideas may come up as we go forward. So you will hear shortly in writing from the team. Let's see. Delay this until October. You're killing our small businesses in Brigham Circle. I think that Gwen did her best to answer that question. And let's see. I'm sorry, there's several questions from the same person. Was there any consideration, Sherry Grossman, was there any consideration during this project about adding transit priority to this corridor for the E-Line 39 and 66 buses, both of which are key bus routes? Is there anything in this project which would preclude a future center running transit reservation in the future? Interesting question, not one that we have addressed this evening. Ben, is that something you can look ahead to?
Yeah, so of course, I think we're talking about, just to frame the issue properly, there's two different ideas at play here. First, one of the core missions of GLT, as our chief Angel Pena had alluded to with the slide showing the 4 levels of transformation. The first level of transformation is to achieve what we call state of good repair. And actually the slide that showed previously the state of the current tracks in the Brigham Circle area, they're in kind of rough shape right now. And so, one of the core tenets of this program is to do something now about that issue and fix it and bring the tracks back to a state of good repair that will allow much better operation for our current vehicles. So that's the purpose of this endeavor, 28 days. In the future, we as the Green Line Transformation are reimagining the E-Branch corridor, and we'll be working with our municipal partners and having a robust sort of public participation process to accomplish that mission. So that might mean having revamped stations and a different track alignment.
Thank you, Ben. I'm going to move back to the raise hand. Tom Yardley.
Hi, Nancy. Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Thank you.
Okay, thanks for the opportunity to speak. My name is Tom Yardley. I'm from Masco. I just have a few comments tonight we want to make. Last year, the Green Line Transformation team led a 28-day shutdown, much like this one, that was accelerated in August. And I know just from being a sort of transportation planner that this is honestly quite an accomplishment in such a busy district to get this amount of construction done and condense it into a time frame that still has impacts, but it's significantly fewer impacts than it could be. Last year was pretty successful based on the sort of feedback we had from a lot of our employees in the Longwood area as well. And I think the thing to remember as well is it's going to result in upgrades to the E-Branch, which is really critical as people come back from the pandemic. And we're trying to make sure that people get back on public transportation and don't drive and just congest the streets. We're very appreciative that the Green Line transformation team is going to get this done in August. And I'm certainly sensitive to the impacts this has on local businesses. I think the flip side of this, and the thing that's important to remember, is that most of the workers are coming back in September, including 27,000 students returning to campus. So our philosophy is certainly, from our perspective, let's get this done and minimize disruption. And then people will come back to the area. They'll be accustomed to taking the teen. It'll be there and ready. So we certainly support the current approach. We think it's the least disruptive to the area for the time being, and will cause less congestion and allow people to come back into the area in September. The other thing I really wanted to offer is in our role as sort of area-wide planners in the Longwood area, we would be very happy, and I think this is something we've done in the past as well, to work with Mission Main Streets and help promote local businesses and connect them with the influx of thousands of employees and students that will come back in the fall. I can only imagine what people have been going through during the pandemic. Anyway, so I just wanted to leave that there, and I'd be happy to share my information, maybe through the GLT potentially, if there's any interest in taking me up on that offer. Thanks.
Thank you very much. We'd be happy to make that connection. Stefan Wunsch, I hope I'm saying your name correctly. I can see from Google Street View captured November 2020 that the Green Line speed limit along this section to be reconstructed is currently 10 miles an hour. After the construction, what is the speed limit expected to be? Will there be any improvement in the trip times? Good, interesting question. Ben, can I hand you that question?
Yes, and again, this area of track, as Angel had alluded to earlier, is about 4,000 feet of track. Let's just say 2,000 feet in each direction. And because the track is in its current state of disrepair, we could say, while safe to still travel on, there is a speed restriction associated with this section of track. And that accounts for about 30 seconds of lost time in each direction. So by performing this work in August, getting it done in 28 days, you could see on average, probably about 30 seconds of improvement just from not having that speed restriction in that section.
Thank you, Ben. I've got a couple suggestions to share the comments so everyone can see. All the comments will be included in the summary of the meeting, so they will be available afterwards. David Fargan, I would like to commend the effort the MBTA is making on this project. They did a great job in 2020 on the South Huntington Ave section. Thank you, Mr. Fargan. Joseph Wong, what are the impacts on truck delivery of businesses' supplies, cars needed for businesses to deliver their foods, and parking for quick pickups at Brigham Circle? Gwen, is that something you could answer?
Absolutely. So as I had discussed earlier, while we have this intersection of Brigham Circle closed, we are going to be setting up some temporary loading and unloading zones on a couple of the side streets that are adjacent to Brigham Circle. As far as quick pickups, there won't be a lot of room in the construction zones to do that sort of maneuver, because we will just have one lane for traffic, and any sort of stoppage will stop all traffic. But we're going to try to limit how much time we spend in any specific construction zone and reopen zones once the work is completed, to try to limit this type of disruption and allow more space for parking and that type of unloading, loading, and pickups once we get done with the section and move on to a new area.
Thank you. Tony Combs has two statements. This presentation is ridiculous. We don't need you to read the questions. We want to see them. I just want to respond that the questions in this format are not accessible to everyone, which is why we don't put them on the screen. As I said, we will summarize them in the summary of the meeting. They will be available as spoken when people speak them, and I do my best to read them even when they are not complimentary. I hope people are learning from the presentation, and the presentation is also posted on the website, so that if you want to go back and look at some of the details and send us a question, we welcome you and encourage you to do that. I'm looking at a comment from Allie. I bike a lot during the summer in the area, and I've noticed that the intersection near Riverway has been greatly improved and made safer by the work done smoothing out where the road meets the track. Is that the sort of work that is being done again for the rest of the track? If so, that would be great and make me feel much safer when I need to ride across or near the track, and make me a lot more comfortable accessing the shops in the area. Are there any plans to do that sort of work in Cleveland Circle or Packard's Corner as well? Sometimes the holes and bumps near the track almost throw me off the bike near there, especially when turning. Thanks so much for doing great work, and I'd love to see it done in even more locations. So Green Line transformation needs to spread out, it sounds like. Glenn, can you talk about what the effect will be when the work is done in terms of bicycle and perhaps pedestrian safety?
Absolutely. So as that commenter mentioned, this is going to be very similar to the work we did last year on the South Huntington stretch. We will be updating all the track, repaving, and where there are crossings, repaving that. So that'll be all much safer. We can't do a whole lot where it gets to the sidewalks, but anywhere where you're crossing the track or the track is in contact with that pavement, we will be doing those sorts of upgrades along this section. And then for the second half of that comment about other areas, Ben, maybe you could speak to that.
Yeah, so again, this is part of a larger scale plan to bring the entire Green Line surface branches into a state of good repair. So I guess one project at a time, we'll try to successfully do the e-branch surge here, but we definitely have plans in the future to visit those areas.
Thank you both. I'm going back to the hands raised. Franklin Salambine, I'm sorry, hope I said your name correctly.
Thank you, Nancy. It's Franklin Salambeni.
Okay.
I'm happy to be with you and the others today. I want to thank the T for paying attention to this section of the Green Line. It indicates, I think, a change overall in MBTA posture on running streetcars in the street. I think the work you're doing will go a long way in dispelling the notion that streetcars only need to run on separated rights of way. I have three specific things that I want to address with you. We've heard from Angel and from you and from others the importance of safety. And while I understand this is a track replacement project, the issue of safety on this branch for passengers boarding and alighting at Fenwood Road and Parker Hill Avenue is critical. And while your project does not apparently address the issue of passengers stepping off the streetcar into oncoming traffic, it seems to me that you, whoever is responsible within the T for assuring safety, that you should be, that is you as a collective group, advocating for something to be done about passenger safety now. And I'm not sure how that fits into your plan, but it's critical. No one looking at the operation of this line would say it is safe when people get off the car and are confronted by moving traffic, sometimes whizzing right by. There's not been any police presence to flag those cars over, as far as I can see and remember over the period of years we've been talking about this. So that's my first point. I'd like to hear somebody respond to it. Secondly, Angel, I sent to you in the mail, copied the general manager, a paper that I wrote on bicycle safety along tracks, and looking at the corridor-wide rethink of this line coming down 5 or 10 years from now, as you indicate. It seemed to me that the location of the bike lane next to the rails was not really well thought out and is not a safe location. I'd be happy to speak with you. I hope you did receive my article. I sent it a couple of weeks ago. It had been published in the Wake Forest Journal of Law and Policy a few years ago.
And Franklin, let me answer on that one. We have got it. We are developing a response. It's taking a little while to go through it, but you will get a response for sure. Thank you.
Thank you. One last point again, and I'll raise it. I had raised it at a meeting we had on Tremont Street a few years ago. In designing the type 10s, please consider a seating arrangement similar to the type 7s so that people can look out the window and see the community as they ride. It's very boring to sit in a bench seat facing people on the other side of the car facing you. So I guess the primary point, thank you, Nancy, by the way, about the paper that I wrote, just about the safety issue, boarding and alighting. Thank you both. Thank you all very much.
Thank you. And I think Matt and Mark, this might be something, or one of you could respond to on the safety there. And I'm looking for one of you.
Hey,
Oh, there you are, Mark Shaman.
okay, sorry. I wasn't sure if Matt was jumping in or not.
Okay.
So hello, everybody. My name is Mark Shaman. And Mr. Salambetti, yes, as Nancy said, we got your comment, but to your first comment on safety and people jumping off and on the train in traffic conditions, which I think is what your concern is, I do know that the MBTA as a whole has been looking at that issue. In fact, they're looking at best practices in other places where there are streetcar arrangements throughout the country. We know that there's something that needs to be done there. We understand that it's unsafe for people to jump on and jump off a train, and that people who are driving really aren't paying attention all the time about the traffic stops. It is a difficult problem. We are trying to address it, but I can't say that we have a great solution at this point. To your second point on the Green Line and the the bike lanes, there's a whole range of opportunities on this corridor for improvements that satisfy all the users. I think some of the ones that have been advanced or at least shown are beneficial to accessibility and some of the users, but perhaps that there are other users that will also need to have their thoughts, their concerns, their issues addressed. We do have bus, we have trolley, we have drivers, we have pedestrians crossing the street, we have pedestrians on the sidewalk. And whatever options that are developed and advanced do need to be in consideration of all those users. And it is our intent as a team to be out in the public and work with the neighborhood groups and make sure that as we reimagine that corridor, everybody who has an interest in that corridor has their voice heard.
Matt, did you want to add anything?
Yeah, I'd just like to add to what Mark was saying and point back to something that Angel had shared, that the Green Line transformation really consists of multiple levels of transformation. The project we're speaking about now at eBranch is about getting to a state of good repair, but there are other projects still in design, still in concept, where we're looking to be able to enhance our accessibility. We're looking to be able to introduce a modern vehicle, state-of-the-art technology and accessibility in the vehicle too. And we're also looking to be able to increase capacity. So with all of that in mind, as Mark said, there are multiple opportunities for continued engagement and comment, as a lot of these are still just in a conceptual stage, including the vehicle design itself.
All right, thank you both. Thomas Mackey says, I'm a commuter. I skate more than I take public transportation, but I've been skateboarding and rollerblading in the Longwood area for about 5 years. Because of the hills and complicated intersections, it can be a really dangerous place to skate, especially with the multiple lanes of traffic and bumpy asphalt. I wanted to express my appreciation that this project is happening and the timing, because when students come back, commuting via skating can get more dicey as sidewalks get crowded. Well, safe skating. What are Patricia Flaherty, what are the 7 days you intend to shut down Brigham Circle and the businesses along Huntington near Tremont? How can you assure this will not overlap with student move-in week? did we give those specific dates on the, yes, they were on here on the, you can see on this graphic, and this will be available again on the website, or you can take a picture of it right now and you'll have that information, including all of the dates that we talked about, the prep work in July. Ben, can you just talk a little bit about this schedule?
Yeah, so we can go through it again. Essentially, there's 4 things shown here. The number 0 represents the prep work. And again, this is work that's going to be conducted at the end of July to basically get our materials in order, basically have them stored on site. Because again, once we take those 2 lanes out of service, we want to be in and out as quickly as possible. And then we'll go kind of from left to right across the screen here in about 1,000-foot sections. So section 1, we'll do about 1,000 feet. Then we'll move on to section 2, which is closer to the Brigham Circle intersection. And finally, perhaps the most difficult portion of the entire outage is actually replacing Brigham Circle intersection, Francis and Tremont Street intersection.
Right, thank you.
I just want to add to that a little bit of the question about how can we guarantee it. Of course, nothing can be guaranteed. There's always a chance, you know, a meteor could hit the track a week from now. But this is, I believe, our 9th surge that we've done in the past 2 years of this type, and not a single one has gone over. Every single one has ended on time, and I don't think this was going to be any different. We have some experience with this, and we definitely have more experience than we did when we did the first one, and we've never run into a problem like that.
Thank you. Thanks both. I'm going back to hands. I see Dennis Poltinas.
Hi, thank you, Nancy. It's actually Allison. I couldn't change the name on this.
Okay.
A couple of comments. Wondering on the slides, it looks like the pavement is the worst condition rather than the rails. And I'm just wondering what is the extent of the pavement replacement? How far does it go to correct the condition of the roadway surfacing? That's one question. And maybe you can also highlight whether, okay, that slide shows it a little bit, highlight whether the construction methods have changed since the last time this was done 20 years ago, you said. Okay, so that's my construction question. My related question is bus diversion. You mentioned very quickly the diversion of the Route 66 from Nubian Square to Alston. I'm wondering if that route can be a little more, there can be more clarity about when that's going to happen and where people will be boarding who want to get on at Brigham Circle. My experience with the work on the other stretch on South Huntington was that the Route 14 was diverted to Center Street, which totally left a lot of stops out of the route. So just to be clear about when the 66 will begin to be detoured and where we can expect to board. Thank you.
Gwen, this looks like a package for you.
Absolutely. The limits of what we will be redoing as far as the pavement will be all the pavement around the tracks. So basically the center 2 lanes of the street will be done by us. And we have heard that there is a possibility that the city of Boston will be following up, doing some of the other paving later on. The construction methods, there are always some slight changes. It's hard for me to say what was done 20 years ago. I was a teenager then, so I can't really speak specifically on that. But we definitely have found ways, including with this diversion, to make things more efficient, which is why I believe the last time this was done, it was 5 months of this road being ripped up, and we're going to be able to do it in a single month. As far as the bus diversion, I think this will be a lot easier than what you experienced the last time. The 66 specifically, should hit all of its normal stops. There might be some very small changes in where those stops are, but there won't be any stops omitted as far as I know. It's going to be the only detour for the 66 will be during the time that we do the Brigham Circle intersection. And there'll be just a detour to go up St. Alphonse Street instead of continuing along Tremont Street, because it won't be able to cross that intersection during that time. But it will go up St. Alphonse, turn around at Longwood Medical Center, and head back down Huntington when it's heading westbound. And that's really going to be the only change to how it's that bus route's going to be conducted.
And Allison, if you have any more questions, please send them to us, please, at glt@mbta.com, and we'll do our best to answer them. Going back to hands up, Bill Burley.
Yes. I simply wanted to note that I represent Beth Israel Deaconess Medical Center on this call, and our return to work for our remote workers who across the Beth Israel Leahy group exceeds 10,000 FTEs is 9/7/21 or September 7th. So the accelerated plan for doing this work prior to that period of time fits in well with our medical center, and I believe a number of the other medical centers are following suit with an after Labor Day return. Additionally, due to COVID, we have a lot of staff who have built up vacation time, and quite a lot of them will be clearing that vacation time out in August. So for us, this is something we knew was coming down the line. So for us, August is going to be probably our lowest month as far as people being on the campuses. So from a transportation, from a traffic a standpoint, that's when we would be least on the road. And I will also say that my past experience with these accelerated work efforts has been very positive, both from our employees coming to and from work, and the use of, say, August to get the work done, or the weeks between the end of July and August. So again, for us, we're mirroring what Tom Yardley said earlier, but this would seem to be the best time to get this work done.
Thank you. Appreciate that comment. Another hand up, Michael Riskind. And let's see. You're not unmuted. There you are.
There I am.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. The enhancement of the 39 bus service is critical. Without the trolleys running, could you share with how many more buses you'll be adding to the 39 line for the enhanced service to improve the headway? And I also think it's critically important that you have inspectors starting the buses at Brigham Circle and at Heath Street to make this run. Are you intending to add inspectors at both those lines, stations?
So I don't know, do we have that level of detail yet, Gwen? Or
So the number of extra buses will vary based on the time of day of the week, and how high ridership is. Our bus operations team will be monitoring ridership and be adding buses as needed. When we talked about the buses, I had mentioned that we were going to be committed to trying to keep the headways on those buses, similar to what you would see if the Green Line is in operation. And that is basically what we're going to be aiming for. And we will be adding buses as needed to maintain that level of service.
All right, thank you. One more hand up here, that's Tracy D. And
Hello again.
hello, Tracy, you know what? I'm going to come back to you after I've had everyone else, because you've already had an opportunity.
Thank you.
welcome. Hold on. Okay. Da, 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 da. Hold on, I just want to make sure I'm scrolling through. There's a question from Tony Combst about why we can't repave all the way to the curb since there won't be parking there and we won't have to go through this again. I know, Gwen, you said the city of Boston may be considering doing that element, but I don't know if there's an answer to that question that we can give, or it has to be the city to answer that question.
No, there is an answer we can give. As far as us repaving, because we are a federally funded transit company with the MBTA, the way we can spend our funds is very specific. The asphalt around the tracks would fall into that, but the asphalt in the lanes not obstructed by the tracks would not. The other part of that is that, you know, we are trying to minimize the disruption we cause and limit how long we are in this area. Any extra paving or extra work we add to this could push this even further. And as we said, we're very committed to being out of here before the beginning of September, when all the move-ins start and all these businesses come back to work. And we just don't want to risk delaying the project or extending it with extra work. And those are the main two reasons why we are only paving the center lanes for this project specifically.
Thank you.
And Nancy, I'll just extend that just a little bit. We are working with the city of Boston to have this area paved in the fall. But as far as this project is concerned, we have to prioritize having our alternative service be able to use that lane for the entirety of the 28-day closure.
We have a question about maintenance from Adam Sarbal. The pitch here is how bad the condition of the track is and how great you are for fixing this, but isn't it your responsibility to be maintaining the whole time? When this happens and closes, what is your commitment in maintenance and repair so this type of issue does not happen again in the future? I hope the budget cuts is not an excuse because you're asking small businesses to take this budget cut now for you to do this job. Maintenance, Ben, I'm going to let you address that one.
Yeah, so with regards to this portion of the E branch, what I can say is that this is among the most difficult track to replace. So to put this into perspective, the outer portion of the E branch runs in the middle of the street, where pretty much 24/7 there are other cars, trucks, buses, other vehicles, and bicycles using that exact lane. So, you know, if you can imagine going a little bit further into the E branch, we eventually have our own right of way, and that's difficult enough to actually replace the track in that section. But this particular section of track is difficult because it is so disruptive to the vehicles and the surrounding community. So our commitment is, you know, as we've said before, to basically get in and get out as quickly as possible. And we have found from our work last year that this is an effective method at addressing this. Basically, last year we did half of this section, and this year we're going to do the other half. So.
Thank you. Jimmy Allen says, is there going to be better illumination on Heath Street, South Huntington Avenue? I guess a biker got hit by a car 3 weeks ago. Been volumes of accidents in 29 years at back of the hill. No, lighting is not particularly the MBTA's area of expertise, but we can certainly share this one with the city of Boston, the Boston Transportation Department, and see if there's any planning on the lighting at that point. Let me see, just want to get to everyone who at least gets to ask one question. And Christian Milneal, Streets Blog, Mass. I was late, so I apologize if I missed this at the beginning of the meeting. Will this project just replace tracks, or will there be additional traffic calming and crosswalk improvements being built along Huntington Ave? Gwen, is that for you or?
Sure. So I think it comes down to, we will be replacing the track and the pavement that is where the pavement crosses the track. So areas like crosswalks, usually the worst condition of that, at least along this corridor, is right where it crosses the track. So that will all be improved by this project. But our purview as the MBTA kind of ends where our track ends. So improvements, at the sidewalk or in other sections would not fall under any of the work that we could accomplish and would have to be done by the city of Boston.
Okay. Patricia Flaherty, how will you protect accessibility during construction for the many seniors who live along the E line who depend on the MBTA and cross the street to get to services? I do believe we're going to have some detail officers, but Gwen or Ben, can you discuss that?
Yes, so in regards to the crosswalks, this should help with any seniors who are trying to cross the tracks. It'll be a safer crossing for seniors or really anyone crossing the tracks once this work is done. As far as while the work goes on, one of the big reasons why we've broken up into sections is to limit how far anyone trying to cross the road will have to go to get to one side or the other of the work zone to be able to cross that track. And the busiest area will be Brigham Circle, which, because it's such a small area, you'll be able to cross either over in the center of the Brigham Circle platform or near Fenwood Road. Both of those crosswalks will be open while we're doing that section of the track.
Thank you. Joanna Senna, I'm still unclear on which days that Brigham intersection will be impacted. I'm also concerned about overlay with student move-in weekend. We still have that schedule up. So Ben, which days the Brigham intersection will be impacted is the question.
Yeah, so the schedule shows here that, Brigham will be fully out from the 19th to the morning of the 25th, but we will be taking the intersection down the prior evening. So after the AM rush, after the PM rush, workers will begin to be laying out materials and sort of take that intersection down. So it goes from the evening of the 18th through the early morning of the 25th, highlighted by the gray section at the bottom of this chart here, number 3, Tremont Street intersection.
Great, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Julia Ubertini, what is the fastest, best way to get to Park Street now from Heath Street? Julia, I don't know if you mean today or during the construction. So.
At least during the construction, your best bet would be either taking the 39 bus all the way to Copley and then walking to Park Street, or you could transfer at Brigham Circle from the 39 to the Green Line service that goes to Brigham Circle and ride that to Park Street. In general, not during construction, probably the Green Line would be your best bet from East Street.
There's a comment from Tracy D that we should have had a town hall meeting as opposed to this style, which favors the presenter and allows us to control the meeting. Tracy, the MBTA is not doing in-person meetings at this time. We'd love to have a town hall meeting, but I don't think until the fall that's going to be happening. And this format allows us to provide closed captioning, a second or third language as appropriate, and to let as many people as possible ask questions. As I said, the video will be posted. People can review the PowerPoint on the website, and we hope that you will ask us questions. Send them to us at glt@mbta.com if we haven't been able to answer your question. And I'm going back, let's see, to hands up. Hold on one second, please. So Tracy D, will come back to you, but please, we don't have that much time left, so please make it short.
Yeah, the student moving week will actually be at its height during the Mission Park to Farley Street period. There's going to be hundreds of U-Haul trucks. The reason why is because September 1, as you know, is in mid of the week, so it's going to be the weekend before. This is going to be when you guys are going to be at full steam. It doesn't. If there's 100 or 200 U-Haul vehicles in Mission Hill and 24-hour repairs on the track, we're going to be in trouble. That's the first question. The second question is, one of the things I've asked for, and because of your millions and millions of dollars of a budget or whatever you have, what means have you decided upon on how you're going to compensate the businesses? I know that you guys are pretty good about giving yourselves bonuses during the pandemic. I saw that your boss there, Penner, got extra 40,000. So I just wondered if he could give that money to the local businesses when we can't hire staff and we can't feed our customers because we're closed down as a result of your inconvenient construction. So just there's a couple of things that you might want to consider, but I really do feel that you should address how you're going to compensate us. If you can just answer on what the compensation of the local businesses is, I won't ask any more questions and I'll go away and bury my head somewhere because talking to you guys seems pretty useless. All right, thank you.
Well, let's first address, Gwen, the issue of the U-Hauls and how the contractor and we will be dealing with that.
As we had discussed, our choosing of the timing of this was very deliberate. Tracy had mentioned, or Dermot had mentioned, that the move-in weekend of the weekend before the 1st is his main concern. That is why we chose to do the Tremont Street intersection the weekend of the 21st and 22nd. That'll be the weekend before what he is describing as move-in weekend, and by the 28th we should be finishing up, and that weekend will be when we will be returning service and getting out of the way for students moving in. So I think that should cover that question. And again, our timing has been picked and we've gone over the reasons for why we chose this timing.
And I will say that the MBTA does projects like this all around the metropolitan area. As I said at the beginning, we understand this is a burden. We're in the position of having to balance the challenges to keep the transportation system running. It's not the MBTA's policy to reimburse abutters to these kinds of projects. This has been the policy throughout. I worked on the Commonwealth Avenue Bridge project. And again, it was very difficult for some of those businesses on Commonwealth Avenue. We did our best. In this particular case, having met with you, the team is able to reduce the impacts on your restaurants to 7 days and is going to take care of moving your in-street dining facilities. So we are listening. We do understand it's a burden. We wish we could do otherwise, but the timing of you being in the street and the need to get the work done and to make it safe and reliable and up to date for everyone who rides the E-branch. Competing interests, and we understand it's very difficult for you. So we will do our best during the time period. We will have people on site. We will, if there are issues that come up, we will deal with them. And we will continue to be in touch with you and to provide answers to the questions that you have asked, and to commit to the changes we have made based on listening to you and understanding your issues as you've expressed them. I don't know, Ben, if you want to add anything to that.
No, Nancy, I think that was perfectly said. I will just say that in accommodating the academic calendar, as you know, Boston has many colleges, and especially down the E branch, there's several colleges that we have to account for. Now, while we don't value one college or one university over the other, there are many universities that are starting in September. And so again, that is part of the reason why we are doing this in August.
Thank you. So here's an interesting question from Marianne Nelson. Can we reverse the construction schedule and do Brigham Circle first? I presume there's a reason why it's being set up the way it is. So are you thinking, Gwen, Ben?
Yeah, so we've worked closely with the City of Boston Transportation Department to pick those dates. And that's what we've settled on. And I think that's, we want to make sure that we get out within the 7-day mark that we had set.
Yeah, great, thank you. I'm just looking to see if there are any more, let's see, different questions. We have addressed many of these. I mean, I know people feel that their specific question may have not been answered, but we have really addressed the basis for many of these questions. So I'm just going through. And all right, so we're getting to the end of the meeting. If there's anyone else who wants to add a question. I have heard from a lot of the people who are in here. We'll take a couple more very quickly though. Michael Reiskind.
Yes, I assume you'll have a superintendent working 24 hours a day. That means, I guess, 3 for the 3 8-hour shifts. Will you share the superintendent or the field foreman's cell phone with the community so that they can reach people when they need to? Your 24-hour noise hotline is not sufficient. A voicemail machine is not sufficient. Thank you.
So yeah, we will, we want to keep our contractors working, but what I will say is that we will have a dedicated field team staff, and you'll actually see them out there riding the buses, observing the work sites, making sure that pedestrians have a proper path of travel where the contractor said that they would have a proper path of travel. And they'll be wearing GLT, actual GLT hard hats, GLT. They'll be monitoring those sites pretty much 24/7, and will be able to assist with those concerns if you find them on the street. So
our contractor is very good at answering and sharing the questions that come in through the hotline. As I know, I help to answer some of them. We do our best to answer them quickly. We always, of course, say if you're concerned about safety, please dial 911. But in addition, I know many of you have worked with Dino DeFranzo. You can be in touch with Dino. Reach us on the website. We do try to answer as quickly as possible. Sometimes it takes us a little while to get an answer. If it requires detail, we want to give you as much information as we can, but please do use the hotline. Let's see. Looking to see if there are any more that are new. Christopher Fries is following up on the question about the state of good repair. He understands it's a difficult section, but transit agencies the world over maintain streetcars well. Would something like inspections occur weekly or monthly and quick fixes identified and fixed once they are identified, rather than waiting to do a major project such as this? And that's a good question for maintenance of way, but maybe somebody here will jump on it.
I can answer that one. So our department name is Green Line Transformation, and a large part of that transformation is not just in the initial upfront capital cost investment, but in how we're maintaining those assets going forward. It's a very different approach, more of a holistic approach interdepartmentally. As Nancy mentioned, maintenance of way is the asset end user owner of that track. But we're working with them. We're working with the power department, with the signals department, with the vehicle maintenance department. And a lot of the projects that we are developing now, both in initial design, conceptual development, is in such a way that we can be planning ahead for how maintenance is done, moving to more of a reliability centered maintenance, specifically on the vehicle, the Type 10 vehicle, and the maintenance facilities, and the designs that we're doing, and working with the vehicle maintenance department at how we can better equip them to be in a place where they can make that continual investment all along the life of the asset.
Thank you. Just a really quick question. Laydown area in July for materials delivery. I presume those have all been set, the laydown areas, Gwen?
Yeah, I believe we went over that on the slide about laydown areas. It has a specific area. It's from St. Albans Road to the Mission Park Garage. That will be our laydown area for material while we're doing this prep work. And really, as we start to work out, while we're doing the work, we'll be taking the travel lane. But once that'll only be while we're doing the night work of welding the rail together. During the day and evening, we will be pushing it all into the parking lane to allow 2 lanes of vehicle traffic to be able to move through.
Okay, and just following up, Gwen, there's another question about, will on-street parking spaces be closed during the pre-construction period?
So only the spaces in this specific laydown area. The rest of the parking spaces along the corridor will not be closed, at least not by us.
Okay. All right, thank you. From Boston Bikes, just a reminder that, you know, it's not just the MBTA that uses Huntington Ave, bicyclists, a skater, those who are pushing strollers or in wheelchairs. I've gotten a couple of comments about how important it is to keep the work going, and Boston Bikes sends a message. Thank you for doing this work. It is much needed, and I wish it was done sooner. Looking forward to feeling safer biking and walking these streets. So thank you for that comment. And I think that's a good note on which to say thank you to everyone who participated. I know we didn't answer every comment, but there were 7 or 8 from the same people, and they covered a lot of the same areas. So if you feel you did not get an answer, please write to us at glt@mbta.com. Please use the hotline. We will be in touch again with the folks we've been meeting with. And if you need a briefing of some kind, please let us know. But we do appreciate you participating this evening. And we look forward to working with you and answering your questions and doing the best we can to make this a very successful project. So thank you very much and good evening.